guys? It's your girl, Faith, and welcome back to Faith Facts. And this is a holiday episode because it's the holidays. We might as well enjoy a little bit of cheesy Christmas movies because that's what we're talking about today. If you've seen my latest video from a couple weeks ago, we are going to be watching The Princess Switch 3, Romancing the Star. This one is the third installment in the Vanessa Hudgens cinematic universe of Princess Switch movies / other Christmassy Netflix movies. I feel like this movie really spoke to me and it filled that little void of Christmas magic that I was thinking about. Where are the cheesy Vanessa Hudgens movies? So the movie starts off with the Star of Peace being brought to Moldova for this international Christmas festival that they're having. It's a beautiful star brought by the local cardinal, to the Pope, and it's from the Vatican, and it's super valuable. And it's immediately stolen. Like less than 10 minutes into the movie, it is stolen. So because of this, Margaret thinks that she can get Fiona to steal back the star, as she's a criminal as seen in the other movie. And Fiona gets to get out of her mandatory community service for, trying to steal the crown. But Fiona is pretty arrogant about, getting out, and she doesn't really want to help them, but she knows that they deserve a good deed, and she deserves to give them a good deed. So she agrees to do it anyway. And in this, she's going to need a few helping hands. So she calls back her two, minions, I guess, whose names I honestly did not write down. And she calls a special person in this time, a guy named Peter, one of her ex-love boyfriends / friends / childhood friendish things where they have a complicated relationship. But he is an ex-Interpol detective and knows all about security, so he can help them get the star back. She asks Peter to help them, and he kind of reluctantly agrees, but he thinks anything for an old friend. First, they have a few plans to get the star back. Plan A was to run into the guy that stole the star, named Henry, who's this multi-million-dollar guy that runs a bunch of hotels. Fiona actually used to know Henry because they used to be lovers of some sort. So plan A is to go to the trail that he uses to walk his dog and for Fiona to kind of seduce him into giving her an invitation to his opening Christmas party. Of course, that does not work because the dog that one of Fiona's minions got her is a Great Dane that was running to get a squirrel and she ran into a bush. But plan B works almost perfectly as they show up to the grand opening of one of his other hotel boutiques and she seductively asks him or suggests that she's going to be selling her parents' palace, and he invites her to the event. And meanwhile, throughout the story, Fiona's mom is trying to call her as they have a really bad and estranged relationship. And Peter is starting to fall for Fiona again. So after Reggie gets hurt and breaks his leg during one of their security breach practice runs at the palace, they need someone to fill in for Fiona and pretend to be her at the party. And they have the perfect person for that, Margaret. So Margaret is going to pose as Fiona in the inevitable Princess Switch, as this is the Princess Switch movie. So Fiona teaches Margaret how to do all the Fiona mannerisms and be arrogant and posh and cool. And they show up to this event and Margaret almost has Fiona down to a T. And Henry doesn't suspect a thing. But meanwhile, back at home, Stacy gets a call from the nun that runs the orphanage that Fiona is mandated to do community service at. She was supposed to have like some sort of meeting with the council about like how she's progressing, and it was supposed to take place after Christmas, but they moved it up to that night. So guess what? Stacy has to pretend to be Fiona too, and it is so confusing. Not as confusing as the first two movies, especially the second one, because that was extremely confusing. Just Vanessa Hudgens everywhere. By the way, I just wanted to say that I love the tango / break-in scene where it looks like kind of Peter and Fiona are tangoing as they go through the lasers and security walls, while Henry and Margaret, dressed as Fiona, are actually tangoing. It's really cool. And then after this, they make it out with just a little amount of time, but Peter stays back to distract everyone. But however, in the process of getting that star, Fiona says that she never loved Peter and she doesn't want to hear from Peter ever again, and she doesn't want to be a community with him or want to confide in him or trust him or anything. So of course we have the inevitable Christmas magic, you can trust the people that you love kind of trope thing, where in order to get the Star of Peace back, Fiona has to go to her old boarding school and meet up with Peter there, because that's where they first met and they first fell in love. And there she gets to see her mom for the first time in literally forever, and she finds out why her mom kind of abandoned her. Her mom didn't want to have that responsibility, but she also wanted to protect her from their father, who did not like either of them. But they tend to find an understanding somehow, and they reunite. It is such a sweet moment. I really love this moment. And right after that, Peter kind of leaves and she leaves and she has the star back, so he did not forget that. And then just in the nick of time, as Margaret is about to tell the Cardinal that they lost the star, Fiona shows up with the star, and now the International Festival is back on. And at this festival, she finally sees the love of her life, Peter, and he goes there to apologize for being such a meanie to her. But before he can do that, she apologizes to him about being such a meanie and finally learning to trust the people that she loves. And then Olivia, who is Nick's daughter, who I didn't really talk about because it's not really relevant in this movie, lights up the star piece on the giant Christmas tree in the front of the palace, and then everybody kisses their spouse, and guess what? Peter and Fiona kiss, and it's a beautiful, magical winter wonderland, blah, 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 the end. I really loved this movie, actually. I liked the cheesiness. I like how it didn't focus so much on the Christmas aspect, because sometimes I feel like these cheesy Christmas movies focus a little too much on Christmas. Like, really. I felt a bit like some of the things in this didn't really make sense, but everything kind of ties together with that final scene, that final Winter Wonderland scene. Oh, and by the way, Henry goes to jail. Forgot to say that. They really gloss over it in the movie too. But I feel like I would watch this while decorating a Christmas tree or eating some cookies or doing some caroling, because honestly, it can drag on for a few minutes too long. I cut some parts out that were just a little bit too monotonous. But I'd give this a watch. If I had to rate this movie, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Solid watch. I'd recommend it. And if you have any other recommendations for me, leave it in the comments below, because that's the end of this video. So make sure to like and subscribe, and again, comment, and I will see you later. Peace.